failure, not doing it by the numbers, being aware that certain countries are much more popular, so you really have to pay attention to that and cater to that, and the notion of really emphasizing your project and you and how it's mutually exclusive and important between America, and then just going to the country, doing your fieldwork research, your short-term research, and the summer before, and getting the affiliation letters is really important, hugely important, and going up, I would say, as high as you can to the level of the national government, the most regional, most important people, and getting them to know who you are. And in many cases, you really kind of have to bug them a lot and keep calling and keep going, but those letters are really, I think, crucial to the process. And then just starting to work on your application immediately, because I would say if you have the best application for your campus committee, then you have less work after they have commented, and that process is great. Dan was on my committee, and they had nothing but really good insights to provide me with, and I think if you have a really tight, strong proposal at that point, they'll just enhance it from there. So I think emphasizing that first deadline is really important, is crucial.
I think something you were saying, the key with this and the key with, I guess, anything you write is to get as much feedback on something as you can. You want people that are going to absolutely shred your proposal apart, you know, and really legitimately give you great feedback that you can take and apply. Talking to Fullbrighters, they went through, you know, some went through as few as 10 different versions of their drafts, you know, for those essays I talked about. But I've talked to people that like, yeah, I did like 20, 30 different drafts before I came up with something that was really clear and concise. Keep in mind that it's only 1 to 2 pages. I don't think I mentioned that before. And so you guys are used to writing, you know, significantly large papers than 1 to 2 pages. And so you're really trying to, you need to get to the point, basically. You know, you're not going to talk about the history of this and that and the other. You're going to get to the point and talk about the significance of what you're doing and why you're doing it more than anything else. So you do need to have people helping out in that process.
One thing I would add just to that is also, I agree with you, and I would suggest asking people that know nothing about your project from completely different fields. I've asked bartenders and anybody that can give you a different perspective that doesn't understand what you're working on or comes from a completely different discipline, I think is extremely helpful, because from what I understand, the people that are reading the proposals in the various stages aren't going to be suited to your precise discipline.
I think that's maybe the most common thing you see when you're reading proposals is almost everyone is used to writing their proposal. You know, you're in chemistry, you're writing it to your chemistry advisor. You're in nanotechnology, you're writing it, you know, to other nanotechnologists. You're in dance, you're writing it to other dancers. Whatever field you're in, that's not really who's looking at your proposal. You have to make your case that you're a capable researcher in your field to someone that's not in that field. And beyond that, we're looking for, I mean, think in terms, and anytime you do any proposal, you have to think in terms of the evaluation criteria, but also the goals of the program. And the goal of the Fullbright program is creating a body of citizen ambassadors. So you have to think in terms of that context. If you're a nanotechnologist, you've got to do that really well, but you've also got to interact with the people in your country and work out ways that you can take your research, disseminate your research, work with colleagues, have collaboration, do all those things that make it, I mean, that's what makes a Fullbright proposal. So, I mean, it's not going to be the same as your NSF proposal, or your NIH, or whatever other field you're in. Just think in terms of the breadth of the program. You got to make your case for your specific field, there's no question about it. But it's a one-page proposal. You got to make that in paragraph, you know, 1 or 2, and move on and talk about the other things. That's what I see over and over again. That's where the campus advisory or committee, I think, has the biggest role, is helping people understand who really is the audience. And the concept of, I haven't really been keyed in myself. You can go talk to the, phone or email the program officers who are very involved with the people in your country where you're applying to be. They're understanding what their priorities are, and may well be able to put you in contact with people in country. Use that information in order to craft a proposal that's going to be very positively seen by the people that are making some of the most important decisions in the process.
Excellent. Bartender, that was the first time I've ever heard that.
Really?
Let me highlight a couple of things on the website that I think might help you guys out. First is the program overview. This basically just gives you a lot of the same information that I just went through and covered, but obviously in text form. So very worth checking out, talking about eligibility, work benefits, goes into more detail about that, and also provides a timeline. Country summaries, this is what I mentioned 13 times. As you can see, it breaks down the region and then it goes into specific countries. This is extremely helpful. This is a great starting place. If you haven't decided specifically where it is you want to go, and we're just going to, where? Morocco it is. And it'll pull up a brief description. It says that there's 12 grants that are available, as you can see here. This is all subject to change, so you need to definitely keep checking back. You see 12 full grants as well as 12 teaching assistantships. And then it goes into all the details. It talks about the affiliation, research clearance, those sorts of things. So, awesome resource. Definitely use it. And then the last part of the website, the second to last part of the website I want to show you is preparing an application. This goes into a lot more detail, talking about the affiliation, talking about the 1 to 2 page essays that you're going to be writing, talking about what it is you're doing, and your personal statement as well. So use the website. It's a great resource. I would encourage you bookmarking it on your computer. I don't know how you'd be able to do this without using the website as a resource, because you have to submit it electronically.
Do you want to talk about artists grants? I don't know if we have any artists positions.
Do we have artist positions?
So then, maybe we should go over it briefly. It's a bit of a different application process, right?
It is a bit different. Let me see if I can do it right now. The biggest difference that I'll throw out with this comes with providing supplementary materials. Depending on what you're looking at doing, let's say you're a photographer. What Fullbright is wanting you to do, and it spells all of this out, is provide supplementary materials of your work. Dancer, same thing. Just you're providing extra materials, supplementary materials, and it goes into detail and it kind of talks about those. These skills are also being evaluated by professionals in that discipline, which is unique to Fullbright. With the traditional grants and with ETAs, you may not be, or the people evaluating your application, the faculty evaluating your applications, may not be in the same discipline that you alluded to. And so that's why you're not writing a very technical, jargon-filled essay about things. It's understandable to even the bartender at the Swamp. Is that the bar? The Swamp. So that's something to keep in mind there. Were there other things that you wanted to say?
Just the affiliation is a little different. We're artists, musicians, creative writers. We get a lot of questions. I want to go write a novel. You might get affiliated. Not necessarily a Sydney University platform. Maybe it's a famous novelist, or get them to take you on as their protege, or perhaps it's newspaper or journalist or something like that. So it doesn't have to be the same sort of affiliation that we have with traditional music. The other thing I would say is that roughly about 20% of all of our student program grants for artists and musicians and writers. There's a big emphasis in the program, and we're constantly looking for applicants applicants to apply. If you look at the country summaries, a lot of them will say, please, if you're an artist, apply. Nobody ever applies for an artist grant in this country. So an artist can be much more flexible with their projects in a lot of cases. So you get a lot of countries to choose from.
And this is sort of a new category within Fullbright as of this year. It's world music. And basically this is more performance-focused study versus MTVU where it's more community involvement, community engagement. And so let's say you have an interest in Afro-Caribbean jazz or something like that. This grant would enable you to be able to take those skills that you have as a musician and craft a proposal sort of around those and be able to do that in country. And so it's a little bit different, it's new. That way, because it's new, I'm going to direct you back to the website to get some more information about it. But for those musicians out there, it's worth looking into. Another great resource on the website. Somebody have a question? No? Okay. Another great resource on the website is the directory, which really helps out with affiliations. Often I hear from people saying that, I don't know anyone in Morocco. I use that as an example. How am I ever supposed to find an affiliation? How am I supposed to, make contact with that country, with the universities, those sorts of things? Well, this can be a solution to that. Basically, we have a directory that dates back to the 1990s. It's a great resource for you. Let's say you're looking at going to Morocco, and you can do a search by country. Maybe I won't scroll all the way down to Morocco. Maybe I'll just do somebody that went to Germany. There's a lot of grants in Germany. I'm just using an example here. But this is a way that you're able to get the name of a Fulbrighter in journalism, a Fulbrighter that went to the country that you're interested in going to. And so it's all about using the resources that you guys have access to. I think, who in here has a Facebook account? It's a great resource. Let's say you wanted to get in touch with this individual and basically just find out more about the journalism program in Germany. What I would recommend, and I've done, and I only recommend this because I've heard of other Fulbrighters, is look for them on Facebook, do a Google search of them, and then shoot them an email and saying that, hey, my name is so-and-so, I received your name from the Fullbright directory. That's an important bit that you add there, so you don't come off as a stalker or something. I received your name from this directory. Noticed that you did a project in journalism in Germany. I have an interest in journalism, have an interest in doing a grant in Germany, but I'm struggling to find an affiliation. Can you help? Or can you give some advice on how I can approach the application? And 9 times out of 10, the Fulbrighters are more than happy to get back with you. They're excited that somebody has a similar interest, interested in going to the same location as them, and they're going to help you out in any way they can. They can help you secure an affiliation. They may be, which we don't provide, they may give you access to their application, kind of what they wrote and what they submitted, and kind of help you with that process. Or just be another set of eyes to look over your application and see if your essay really makes any sense at all. And maybe they can even send it off to their bartender friend who can look at it as well. So you never know. You just need to use the resources that you have put in. Another good resource is the Scholars Program. This is the Scholars website. Fullbright's a huge umbrella. There's a lot of different programs that fall underneath it. One of which is the Scholars Program, where U.S. faculty are going abroad, U.S. faculty and administrators are going abroad to teach, do research, and then we have foreign teachers, foreign scholars who are coming here to the U.S. to do the same. And so this is a resource that you can tap into. They have a directory as well that you can search by discipline, you can search by country, and it's great. So let's say you have a background in, I heard a lot of engineers. Where are my engineers? Awesome. Let's say you're an engineer and you're interested in going to Ireland. And you notice that Kristen, is it Villiers? she came here to the U.S., or she's from the U.S., and she did a project in Ireland. And so, you know, if this is a match, if you're looking at going to Ireland, do the same thing that I just told you with the Fullbright students. Look her up. Google faculty administrators are really easy to find on a Google search, or just going to the university website, and shoot her a similar message. Hello, my name is, I got your name from the Fullbright Scholars Directory. Noticed you did some work in Ireland in whatever she did, probably mechanics and that. You know, who do you know on that campus who might be able to help me out through this application process? So another resource that you should utilize. Last thing, before I take some questions, I just want to highlight our YouTube page, because it's pretty cool. Best way to learn about something is to hear from somebody who's been there and done that. And this is a great opportunity, a great way for you to be able to do that. We have tons of students that have gone abroad and have come back to share their experiences. And so,
We also have commission directors. We talked about these Fullbright commissions.
yes.
We've interviewed a lot of them.